Hey guys, today I want to go over a subject that is often requested in the CSGO toolkits, and that is strafing. Now strafing, of course, is simply just pressing A and D, moving back and forth like this. Now why would you want to do that? Well, because a stationary target is a dead target. CSGO is a game that is all about movement, and movement is just simply a very, very important part of the game. You never... well, almost never want to be standing still when engaging an enemy. I say almost because, well, when you're moving, look at my crosshair. Look at this. Look at how wide and open it is. But then you stop and it gets all huddled up and cuddly like that, and it's super accurate. And then you move and your bullets go onto the ceiling. But again, you stop and it's so accurate. But you say I gotta keep strafing, Jake. How am I gonna be accurate while strafing? Well, you gotta stop, man. It's just a simple rule of the game. Unfortunately. Unless you're using a pistol, then that's still pretty accurate. First and foremost, I would highly suggest going into the options, and if you don't already, go into the game settings here and change to a dynamic crosshair. The reason I say that is because it is a great visual feedback or visual indicator of just how inaccurate your weapon is. Look at that. And I stop, and there you go. I mean, once you're beginning with the game, and once you get comfortable with the game, you can switch to a static crosshair, because it is a little bit distracting, at least for me, to have a crosshair kind of doing that sort of thing. But I highly recommend, when at least learning how to strafe shoot, you go to the dynamic crosshair. Now onto the subject of how to do it, how to be accurate, how to make myself sort of mobile and shoot at the same time. Well, there's one or two ways you can do this, or one of two ways you can do this. You can either just completely let go of the A or D key, stop, and then shoot. Like so. Or, while holding A or D, you can hold down Shift, and that'll slow you down, and then you can shoot. This is my preferred method of doing it, because when you stop, when you let go of the key, you do glide for a little bit longer, and then you have to wait, and then let it go. I like to be able to just kind of stop, shoot, stop, shoot, and keep moving right along. That's just simply what I do. It kind of keeps you a little bit more mobile, at least in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people do just kind of let go and then shoot. It takes a lot of practice to sort of get the timing down. But once you get that timing down, you're going to become a very, very hard to kill target. And if you can pair that with some accuracy, you're in a good shape. Now, how do I deal with somebody doing the same thing that I'm doing to them? How do I deal with an enemy that is strafing against me while I'm strafing? This is sort of difficult because you gotta get your aim up there with that. You gotta be able to track targets, and that is, again, where the subject of the lower sensitivity comes in. You know, if you have a high sensitivity, it's gonna be very difficult to kind of track them like this and be accurate while strafing. You know, your crosshair's gonna be going like this all over the place because your sensitivity is at like 5 or something. So you want to get a sensitivity that's relatively low so that you're able to make those micro adjustments as you're strafing back and forth and while you're strafing back and forth. Or you can learn some recoil control here, and hopefully spray them down. Maybe even get a headshot. I would recommend trying to kind of work on tracking the enemy player there. What you can do is try to predict where they're going to be. So they're strafing to the left, they're going to be strafing to the right likely next. So you can kind of hold your crosshair there and predict where they're going to be while you're doing that. Again, another reason why you want to have a low sensitivity, because it's much easier to hold your crosshair in a static position. You know, if it's really high, it's going to be kind of like trying to do this, and that's no good. You don't want to do that. So try and lower your sensitivity a little bit to the point where you can kind of accurately, let's try and spray like a little, there we go. We can sort of accurately keep it on an object. I need to lower mine a little bit. As you can see here, I'm having a little bit of trouble kind of keeping it on that little dot, but you want it so that you can kind of keep it on that kind of little pattern there. Now, something that you can also do to sort of get your right sensitivity is hop into an empty server, make like a sort of head-size circle in the wall here, like so, and then just try and keep your crosshair on it while you move along, like so. And if, once again, let's hop up to another sensitivity here. Keyboard and mouse. Let's go, like, I don't know, up to this. That's going to be crazy, but See how hard it is for me to keep my crosshair on that? Oh god, it's so high. See how much I have to kind of keep moving my crosshair just to kind of keep it right on there? It's very difficult. It's very jerky and hard to keep it on there with a high sensitivity, but once I go all the way back down, there we go. Let's go back down to 0.8. That's what I usually play at. I was at 0.95 for some reason. But see how much easier it is. Kind of stay on target. So it's something that you can kind of hop into an empty server and sort of work on doing. Is just make like a sort of head-sized bullet pattern there, and do that. And you can also, while you're at it, work on your spray control. I mean, first 2 shots out of an AK, fairly accurate. 1, 2, 3. It starts going up like that once you get to 4. Now, you might see me crouching while I shoot, but Jake, they tell me that's a really bad thing to do. You shouldn't be crouching when you shoot. Well, they tell you that in the lower ranks. Not that I'm a high rank at all, but at the lower ranks, because as we learned in the last video, a lot of times a player will run around like this, and players crouch when they shoot. Much easier to get a headshot because their crosshairs are already at crouch level. You know, that's why they tell you not to sort of crouch at the lower ranks. The reason you want to crouch while sort of spraying, especially if someone is ADing and you're having a hard time kind of tracking them, is because it makes you a harder to hit target. Their crosshair is going to be aimed at your head. If you crouch, they have to move the crosshair down to your crouch head level, and that gives you the advantage. I mean, you can come up here, shoot 2 shots, and then you crouch, and that third one's going to be automatically corrected up into there while you keep your crosshair there, and then you can work on pulling down to keep the shots accurate. Let's see if they can't screw this up here. So, 1, 2. Not that great, but that will pretty much hit their center body mass, and they'll be dead by the time those 4 or 5 shots hit them, so don't do that. Go wait for the first 2. See how I shot like 1 and then I crouch and then the next 2 hit right there? You don't want to do that. So once again, 1, 2, crouch, and that third one lands roughly there. It's hard to control your recoil while talking. Holy crap. Never realized that, but nonetheless. There we go, that's a little bit better. See how they stay nice and bunched up while I crouch and pull down a little bit? The first 10 or so shots, let's see. Let's turn off infinite ammo so I can actually see the, SV infinite ammo 0, so I can actually see the bullet count there. So let's see how the first 10 shots line up. That was only 8, but as you can see, the first like 10 or so shots sort of go up in a straight line, then they start going to the left. So once again, let's reload here. See how they go pretty much in a straight line, and you can kind of control the recoil really easily, pulling down those 10 shots, especially if you crouch. So, roughly 10 shots is still fairly accurate. I mean, I'm not doing that much correction there, and it's still pretty accurate. But combine that with crouching, you're pretty good, as well as making yourself a harder to hit target. Look at that, it's nice and grouped up, and that's pretty much what you want to do if you're going to choose the spraying option of dealing with a strafing target. But that is basically the gist of strafing and dealing with a strafing opponent. Oh, I just got caught on the wall. And hopefully this sort of helped clear some things up, you know, how to be a little bit more accurate while shooting. But just a quick recap. You want to come to a complete stop and then shoot. You can do that either by letting go of the key, the A or D key, and then shooting, or you can hold shift, shoot, shift, shoot, like so. But as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and see you next time.